Yes, a very good evening. Today, the Constitutional Court issued a landmark judgment that depends on which side you are on. But to the people who were responding in this case, and majority of Ugandans outside there, it could be perceived that this is a landmark judgment and a win to many outside there. But to those who have lost, we have heard that they will be going to the Constitutional Court. However, here I'm joined by the Executive Director of Family Life Network, that is Mr. Stephen Langa, who is going to help us to understand some of the issues that took place in court today. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Yes, you were in court.
Yes.
And definitely have to say you were very happy with the judgment.
That's right.
Why so?
Well, because the justices, the 5 justices today, have actually done something that is going to protect our families, that is going to protect our children, and that is going to protect our nation. Because these are things that are very, very, very important to us. And so, despite the pressure, despite the threats, we really want to commend the justices for what they did today. Yes.
So, somebody will ask, where is this danger? Is it a perceived danger? Because when we're talking to the petitioners, they indicated, for example, that this particular law comes on the backdrop of recruitment per se, and they argue that this government, this country, has all the apparatus to find the perpetrators, and nobody has ever been taken to the courts of law or arrested at that for, promoting this vice. So where is it? Is it perceived?
No, it's not perceived, it is real. You see, the work that I do takes me to schools, and we've been around for over 20 years. We started in 2002, and we go to schools. We've reached over 800 schools since we started. And from what we find on the ground, when we started in 2002, cases of homosexuality were really negligible, because in a society, there are some thieves, it was really nothing serious. But as the 2000s went on, the cases began to be more and more and more until about 2008, 2009, we realized there must be something driving this thing. Then fortunately at that time, there were those who had been into the gay community and into the activism. Even in the newspapers, we knew them and so on. They came out and said, look, we've left this thing and we do recruit. In fact, one of them said that no funder will give you money unless you have a component of recruitment. You must show that you're recruiting. Yes. And so that thing is true. So then we realized, no wonder this is what has been fueling this whole thing. So it is true that they are recruiting our children. But you see, they're doing it clandestinely. And they also have a lot of money and are using money to quell justice and to quell law enforcement. I cannot tell you, for example, there was a time a number of years ago when the late Honorable Lokodo sent a team to go and arrest those who are practicing this vice. And they were arrested, and within no time, people from the international community, an ambassador went to the police and asking for the release of these people, and so, that kind of level of intimidation and that kind of level of support that these people have from the Western world and from international communities are among the things that actually make it very, very difficult, and that's why we need this law.
I was going to ask you that you see if those are the challenges that we have been facing, because arguments have been put outside there, that we had laws that possibly could provide for punishment of these individuals, just like any other for the individuals who are straight. But you see, it was difficult to arrest these individuals or bring them to book. So what convinces us today that with this law, we shall actually now go for those individuals?
First of all, the thing about the old law and this one, the old law was based on what had been passed many, many years ago. And as you know, society progresses, society changes, a lot of things, new things come up. And that's why it's always good to keep amending laws and so on as new things come up. For example, those days, nobody was recruiting children. Nobody was promoting this vice. Nobody was doing so much intentional activity on this matter. It was just like thieves or like murderers who are there in society, but nobody is deliberately fueling murder, you know, promoting murder or promoting theft. Nobody is doing that. But you see now, this one, there are groups of people who are deliberately promoting homosexuality, promoting lesbianism, you know, asking them to call for their rights and so on. So that's why there's been need for a new law that caters for this new change and this new development in the situation. Yes.
When I had the court, particularly on the issue of health rights, it appears like the court was agreeing that we have members in our society who are actually of that orientation. Do you agree with that, that we have these people in our society who naturally may be existing and they have not been recruited? Because court is saying, you know what, you cannot discriminate in terms of health. Everybody has to seek health services. If we don't do so, we are going to fail in the fight against HIV/AIDS that we had already made remarkable steps.
I want to punch a hole in that argument, and actually this is one of the areas that we have not been happy about in the judgment that has been made, and we're actually going to scrutinize it and do the needful. Here's the issue. We know how the gay machinery works. I mean, I've been studying this machinery for over 20 years. I know their tactics, I know how they propagate their agenda, I know how they take over nations. And one of the tactics they use is they get a good thing and put it up, and then get their dirty thing and smuggle it together with a good thing, while pointing to a good thing here. Health, we know, is a good thing, yes, and something that should be done. But health should not be used to smuggle this filth. You see, it should not be used to, For example, another tactic they use, they say that, we're being discriminated against just like the blacks. And so, yes, we know that the blacks were being discriminated against out of something they are born, you see, and the law should protect somebody who is born in a certain situation. They are born black, they can't change that. So it is legitimate for the law to protect them. So now here they come. I said, because you see, the blacks were discriminated against, and so we are just like the blacks. So now they smuggle themselves under this legitimate situation of the blacks. Yes,
our time is running out, but as you contemplate on whether you could actually also appeal your case at the Supreme Court, already the petitioners in this particular case have already said that they will be going to the Supreme Court to appeal. How ready are you to fight?
We are ready. You know, Jackson, we are not here to be wishy-washy about the family, about our children, and about our nation. We are not wishy-washy about it, or, you know. We are here to defend this nation. We are here to defend the families of this nation. We are here to defend our children. If we lose our children into homosexuality, what are we going to have afterwards? So we are ready to do whatever we need to do to protect our nation.
Okay, thank you very much for coming to speak to us, and of course throwing more light into possibly what we shall again in the next few days be seeing a protracted fight, possibly at the Supreme Court. I've been Jackson Onyango.